Hey everyone, welcome to CodeChef. In part 1, we learned how to read files. But what if you want your program to save data, create reports, or keep logs? What if you want to add these new entries without deleting old ones? Today, we are learning how to write to files and append data. Your programs are about to become way more powerful. By the end of this video, you'll be able to create files, write data to them, and add new content without losing what's already in there. So let's dive in.
Opening files. What is write mode? Write mode is how you create new files or replace the contents of existing files. When you open a file in write mode using the W flag, two things can happen. 1. If the file doesn't exist, C creates a brand new file with that name. You can then write data to it. Or, if the file already exists, C empties the file completely, which means all contents are erased, and then you can write new data to it. Think of it like write mode and opening a blank notebook. If the notebook already has writing in it, write mode erases everything and gives you a clean slate. This is powerful but also dangerous. If you accidentally open an important file in write mode, its contents will be gone. Opening file in write mode. Here's how to open a file in write mode. Now let's break this down. File * file declares a file pointer just like in read mode, and fopen opens the file. Here the output.txt is the file name and W means write mode. These are some important differences from read mode that you should remember. In read mode, file must exist or fopen fails. In write mode, file is created if it doesn't exist. And in write mode, f is emptied if it doesn't exist. Even though write mode creates the file, fopen can still return null if you don't have permission to write in that directory, the disk is full, or the file name is invalid. So you still need to check for null. Checking and closing. Just like with write mode, you must check if the file opened. And even if you don't write anything, you should still close the file using fclose. Why close even with no data written? So it releases file lock like other programs can access it. It's a good practice to clean up resources, and some systems might keep the empty file locked until you close it. So think of it like opening a document editor. Even if you don't type anything, you should close it when it's done. Writing text to a file. What is fprintf? To write data to a file, we use the fprintf function. If you've used printf before, then fprintf will be familiar. The difference is that printf writes to the screen, which is the standard output, and fprintf writes to a file. The syntax looks something like this. Writing data to files. Here's how to write to a file step by step. Step 1. Open the file in write mode. Step 2. Check if it opened successfully. And step 3. Write to the file using fprintf. Step 4. Close the file using fclose. Here are some important notes about writing. First, include new line characters. Unlike reading with fgets, which includes a new line, when writing, you must add ~n yourself. Without ~n, everything would be on one line. Data is written sequentially, so each fprintf adds data to the end of what's already been written in this session. Write mode erases existing content. So remember, opening in W mode empties the file. All previous content is lost. Always close to save data. Until you close the file, data might only be in a buffer, not actually written to disk. Opening and writing to files. What is append mode? Append mode is like write mode but with one crucial difference. It doesn't erase existing content. When you open a file in append mode using the A flag, if the file doesn't exist, C creates a new file, same as write mode, and if the file already exists, C keeps all existing content, the file pointer moves to the end of the file, and new data is added after the existing content. Think of it like adding pages to the end of a book instead of erasing the book and starting over. So this is perfect for adding entries to a log file, appending new records to a data file, adding new lines without losing old ones, and building up data over multiple program runs. The syntax looks something like this. Here, you notice the A instead of the W, that is all that changes. Append mode versus write mode. Now let's compare these side by side. In write mode, it creates a file. If it doesn't exist, it erases existing content. It writes from the beginning and it is supposed to be used when you want to create fresh content. Append mode creates file if it doesn't exist. It keeps existing content. It writes from the end and it is supposed to be used when you want to add to existing content. Writing in append mode. Writing in append mode is identical to write mode. We use fprintf. The only difference is the mode flag. Everything else works the same. So each time you run this program, if log.txt doesn't exist, it creates with these two lines. And if log.txt exists, these two lines are added to the end. And previous content is preserved. This is how most real-world logging systems work. They append new entries without losing old ones. Now let's combine everything into one complete program, a student grade management system. We start with a standard input-output library and include string.h, then our int main where our main function starts. We print student grade management system as a header and our first concept is opening file in write mode. Here we print part 1 creating how to grade a file. Now these lines of code opens grade.txt in write mode which is written as W, and if file exists it will be emptied. If file doesn't exist, it will be created. Now we check for null to handle errors and this prepares us to write fresh data. Now concept 2, writing text to file. So the next lines of code writes initial student records. So each fprintf lines write one line to the file. Note the \n at end of each line. We must definitely add these, and the \n creates a blank line. Now this writes formatted table with student grades and data is written sequentially. Closing the file. The line fclose write file is very essential. It ensures all data is saved to the disk. It releases the file for other operations and without this, data might not be written. Now line 34 onwards, we talk about reading back what we wrote. So these lines of code open the file in read mode to verify content. Then it uses fgets in a loop to read all lines. Then it displays what we just wrote and this confirms our write operation worked. Now you can see from line 47, we talk about opening in append mode. So these lines of code opens the same file in append mode that is represented by A, and then existing content is preserved, which is about our 3 students. Now file pointer automatically moves to the end and it is ready to add new content without losing old data. Now here you can see our next concept, writing to file in append mode. Here we have the same fprintf function as write mode, but these lines are added to the end. The previous content about Alice, Bob and Carol remains and file now has 5 students in total. Now on line 64, you can see that we close after appending. So this line close to save the appended data and file now permanently contains all 5 students. Now this printf line opens file in read mode again and shows all 5 students and proves append mode preserved original data. Now we demonstrate what happens with write mode on existing file. So now this line opens the same file in write mode and all 5 students are instantly erased. So file is now empty before we write. We write only 2 new lines and this demonstrates why write mode is dangerous. Now we show the file that got erased. So we read the file again. This only shows the 2 new lines and all student grades are gone forever. This is why you must be careful with the write mode. Now we create a proper log file example. So this lines of code, these simulate running a program 3 times. Each time it opens log file in append mode. Now we add new log entries without losing previous work, and it closes the file after each run as well. So this is how real logging system works. Now from line 121 you can see that we display the complete log, which opens the log file, shows all 3 runs preserved, and demonstrates append mode's power. Each run's log are still there. Now we run the program and see the output. Now we can see the output here, student grade management system, where the part 1 was about creating new grade file, and we could see the results as well. Then we have displayed file contents. Here you can see the name of different students and their subjects and their grades. Now we can see that we've added new students in the append mode, and here is the final list of all the students with their subjects and grades. And then we are demonstrating write mode danger, and we can see that all data was lost, and then we run it thrice again, which is a simulation of a real world logging system. And now all 3 runs are preserved because we use the append mode.
Now it's your turn. Head over to CodeChef's online compiler, link is in the description below. Here's your challenge. Create a program that writes 3 product names and prices to a file called inventory.txt, then append 2 more products to the same file. Finally, read and display all 5 products. This will help you understand the difference between write and append modes. Don't just watch, code it, break it, fix it, and learn it. That's a wrap on basic file operations. I'll see you in the next video.